Hello, welcome to the Hawthorn Cottagecraft Podcast. Today is Monday the 26th of June 2017 and this is episode 11. I'm Kate. You can find me on Instagram as Kate_Hawthorncottagecraft, on Ravelry as ARunnerBean. We have a Ravelry group, which is the Hawthorn Cottagecraft Podcast group, and there you'll find all show notes and any chitter chatter and giveaways. And you will find me on Etsy as Hawthorn Cottagecraft, and there I sell my project bags. If you're new and have come to the cottage for the first time, you're very, very welcome. I hope you enjoy yourself. I hope you enjoy your knitting and the chat. If you do, please feel free to subscribe and click the little subscribe button and be updated on when I podcast, and the like button. And if you are here for the second or third or whatever time, it's lovely to have you back. I hope you enjoy yourself as well and enjoy the chat and all the catch up that we have from the past few weeks. I am beginning with a big thank you. This past few weeks my subscribers have risen quite considerably, and we have gone past the 800 mark, and that just blows me away. So as a thank you, I have a little giveaway, and there will be a thread in the podcast group on Ravelry. And what I want you to do is jump over there, be a member of the Ravelry group. It's the only requirement, and you will be in for a chance to win some yarn and a little badge. I really am so thankful for everybody who's subscribed and who's commented and who's talked to me and introduced themselves. It has been lovely getting to know everybody. So this is just a little thank you. I have some yarn from a local dyer, his mermaid yarns, and it's You Mama. You can find her on Etsy, and I'll link her shop for you on Etsy. And this is sock yarn, Donegal sock. There's 400 meters. The colourway is Wild American, and it's 85% superwash merino and 15% coloured Donegal nap. So it's tweedy with the nips, and it's beautiful. There's lovely teals, purples, mauve, a deep red, rose red. So there's this yarn, and there's also a little brooch. I bought these both at a local craft fair that we have once a month in Belfast called the Fine and Dandy Market. And there was a lady there who offers spinning classes and I think some weaving classes within this area. And her website is simplyspun.co.uk, but she has these beautiful little sheepy brooches with Donegal tweed on them. So as a thank you to all the subscribers, I have this. I want you to hop over to the Ravelry thread. I've set up a thread there for the 800 subscriber giveaway, and what I want you to do is to answer the prompt. What is your favourite yarn to knit with? We all want to try maybe and find out about new yarn. So what's your favourite yarn to knit with? And or what yarn would you most like to knit with that maybe you haven't knit with yet? And it'll give us lots of different ideas. So that will be open until the next podcast. I'll keep the thread open, and that'll be in around the 7th of July. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You really do not know how much I appreciate all your support in my little podcast. So for the rest of this morning, I hope you have a cuppa and you're knitting, and we'll get caught up on some knitting chat. This week I had one finished object, but I probably couldn't have shown it to you anyway in its completeness because it is a test knit, but also I no longer have it. It has gone. I was test knitting a shawl for Carol Feller, who has designed a shawl for the Yarn Folk Festival. Yarn Folk is a festival that is going to be happening here on August the 5th in Whitehead, County Antrim, and it's Northern Ireland's first yarn festival of this type. and Carol had very kindly designed a shawl for it. Last week I talked to you a little bit about it, and I was able to show you a little bit of it, kind of all squished up. It came out and it was stunning. It is massive, it is huge, it's like a hug, it's like a blanket, it's beautiful. So keep your eyes open for that coming out. But I can tell you a little bit about the yarn I used. Again, I used Carol Feller's, she had sent me some of her yarn to use in the test knit, and it's her new range, Nua. And this was an absolute delight to knit with, and the finished project is beautiful in it. It's very drapey, but cozy and squishy, and it's absolutely stunning. And this is a sport weight yarn. It's a beautiful mix. It's 60% merino, I'm going to get this right, 20% yak and 20% linen. And it really was a joy to knit with. This colourway is Hatter's Teal Party. Yep, got that right. And her yarn, if you haven't seen it in person or seen it online, I think there are a number of shops. I'm not quite sure who all sells it. I know This Is Knit in Dublin has it. And if you can't get it in one of your local shops, it's certainly available on Carol's website, which is stolenstitches.com, and I'll link all of those places in the show notes. But this is beautiful yarn, and I really enjoyed working with it. It, as I said, it's very, very drapey, but it's very, very strong. I think the yak and the linen give it a real strength, but the linen gives it a beautiful drape. And I really wish I could show you the finished object, but it went in the post this week. So that was the only finished object I had. What I can show you though are a couple of works in progress. I started another pair of socks this week. I had mentioned them kind of in passing that I got the yarn the last time. It's not Peter's socks, although those did get a few rows put in, but nothing really worth showing you. Hopefully the next time I'll have more of those to show. And I didn't even touch my Times Square socks by Mina Phillip, my shorties. On Tuesday, Amy and I went on a little day trip to Edinburgh. Amy has been doing her GCSEs, and those finished on Monday. Hallelujah, they are done. Just glad those exams are over. But we decided just for a girly day out we would take a wee trip to Edinburgh. And because it's plain and sitting about, wanted to cast on socks. So the old Caspian needles came out again after me complaining about them. But they're certainly the wooden needles, and you would have no issue on the plain. And I cast on my Shades of Ethel socks. This was my yarn. Shades of Ethel was the colourway, dyed up by the Knitting Goddess for Brit Yarn's second birthday a few weeks ago. And Ethel is the logo for Brit Yarn, the sheep, Ethel the sheep, and this is based on the colours of the logo. So I cast these on and I am addicted to them. I love them. The needles, as I told you, were the Caspian's Knit Picks, 2.5mm, which is a US 1, and I'm knitting them obviously magic loop. But this is what I have got done. Isn't that just knitting up? The colours are beautiful. I am loving these. These are just knitting themselves. I was trying to decide on a pattern. I was wondering what pattern I wanted to do. I really am glad that I kept to the vanilla socks, because I think it just is showing off the colours really, really beautifully. It doesn't need a pattern. It really doesn't. This yarn is 75% superwash BFL and 95% nylon, and it's just the depth of colour. Those colours are just beautiful. Really, really lovely. And there's a lustre. I think there's a little bit of a sheen and a lustre off this. And it's one of those things, and it's not just one more row, it's one more stripe, one more stripe, one more colour. I want to get to the next colour. And they really are knitting themselves. And I think because I'm knitting the vanilla socks, the needles aren't bothering me. I think maybe because I was trying to knit pattern and having to knit into stitches and knit into the backs of stitches and just knit pattern, these needles didn't work for that. They weren't sharp enough. But for the vanilla socks, they are just perfect. What I did was I cast on with my long tail cast on, my usual cast on, 64 stitches, and I've knit a 1x1 twisted rib. And I knit 14 rows. Normally it's either 15 or 20. I knit 14 only because I wanted the stripe to start on the one colour. And I'm going to try and knit and match these. I don't normally bother with matching socks. It really doesn't bother me, but I thought I would try this. And the other thing that I decided to try with these socks is an afterthought heel. I have never tried it before. Because I'm trying to keep it even and keep the stripes even, a new heel flap and gusset would knock that off. I didn't want to do another fish lips kiss heel in this. I want to try something different. So I've never ever knit an afterthought heel before. The thought, I'm not going to do a true afterthought heel and that I'm not going to cut. I'm doing the planned afterthought heel, the forethought afterthought heel. So what I did was I looked it up on Ravelry and I found the Afterthought Heel Socks by Laura Linneman, who's from the Knit Girls podcast, and she has it's a basic sock. Now hers is it's a free pattern in Ravelry. Hers is a 2x2 rib. I've done the 1x1. Then it's a plain sock, and she then links to the Afterthought Heel, and it's a tutorial that the other knit girl, Leslie, put up on their website through YouTube. And it is the clearest tutorial I've ever seen for a heel. She explains it so well, and the camera works really clear, so you're left no doubt to what you're doing. There's no ambiguity, and it's sometimes with a tutorial, a lot of it's well explained, but if the camera work's not close enough, you're not quite sure about some little bits of it. Most tutorials I've done have been really good, or followed have been really good, but this one is particularly good. It's very clear about how to do your afterthought heel. So that's my plan. I link their website and the tutorial in the show notes. So my plan is to get down now a few more inches. I think the last socks I knit them just slightly too short on the leg. Get a couple more inches in, and then I'll get my waist yarn and work on the afterthought. And maybe by the next time I'll have the heel in, or the waist yarn in, and be working down the foot of it. So beautiful yarn. I'll definitely be buying more eventually of the Knitting Goddess yarn. I'm not buying any yarn at the moment. I'm on a yarn diet, and you would be shocked and proud of me that I spent the entire day in Edinburgh without going to a yarn shop. This was very much Amy's day, and well, part of the reason I had chosen a Tuesday was because I knew Ginger Twist would be closed, and the last time we were in Edinburgh I made Amy walk for quite a long distance to get to Ginger Twist, to find that it was shut, and then made her walk back again when it was open. So there was no more yarn buying, but I will in the future be buying more Knitting Goddess yarn. This BFL is beautiful to work with. It's very soft, and these socks are whizzing up. Really enjoying them. So that was one work in progress this past week. To set those aside. The other work in progress is my Utu cardigan, which featured in issue 2 of Lane magazine. this is the cardigan. It's the cover one. And as I said before, this magazine's just beautiful. You should, if you can get your hands on it, try and get it. I'm knitting this cardigan for Fibre East at the end of July. It's the 29th and 30th of July at Redbourne School in Amthill in Bedfordshire. So I'm in a bit of a time limit to get this one knit. I am knitting it in fine fish yarns. The reason I'm doing that is because Fine Fish Yarns is vending at Fibre East, and I'm going as her booth buddy or her helper. And I'm just really, really enjoying this knit. It's in a gradient set. Now you'll note how I have my gradient set split, and there'll be a wee bit of crinkling, but I have it divided into Ziploc bags with the numbers of the gradients. Particularly the two earlier colours, they are so similar in the ball that I was worried that I would get them mixed up. So the bags, each one divided in the bag and the number on the bag, so I know which gradient I'm working on, which number I'm working on. So it's a beautiful, they're beautiful shades of green, and it goes from, this is the second colour, to the deepest colour, which is this one. So I got that started this week, and I have got, it's top down, and I have this much done. It's really hard to show the back. So I got the ribbing done, and there's just pattern round the top at the back and round to the front, along the top. And then I think the same pattern is motifs repeated on the sleeve. And then it's stocking stitch the rest of the way down. And you can see where I have moved from the first colour into the second colour. Now I've never used a gradient set before, and I think I might have slightly mismanaged my first colours. I'm trying to keep enough for the sleeves so that I don't run out, but I've kind of forgotten that this colour is only featuring on the top, the first colour, and that it won't actually go down the sleeve. So I left some of it, and I think I really should have knit slightly longer on the first colour, but I think for my height there'll still be plenty. So you can see how we have worked in to the second colour according to the pattern, and it's knitting up fairly quickly. It's small needles, it's 4-ply. I'm using her core sock, so it's 75 merino and 25% nylon, and it's my favourite base of Fine Fish yarns to work with for anything really, for socks or for garments. And I started it on the ribbing was done on 2.5mm. It's the US one. I had Addy needles for that. And the body of it is on 3mm, which is a US 2.5, and I'm using my Haya sharps for the body of the cardigan. I'm really, really enjoying this knit. I'm on the raglan increases. It's raglan sleeves, and I'm working on the raglan increases, and I will be moving, I think, within the next few rows to dividing for the body and the sleeves. If you see the little stitch markers, I'll try and show you them. I was watching Ellie from Craft House Magic podcast. Hello Ellie, you are responsible for this little spend. She had these are from Chapel View, get this right, Chapel View Crafts on Etsy, and these are lovely. They are so realistic. I'm not showing these very well. Battenberg cake, a chocolate coloured digestive biscuit, my favourite, Jammy Dodger, and they are so realistic. slice of cake. So those are my stitch markers. They're bringing me a lot of joy when I look at them. So the cardigan is taking shape really, really well. I like the shape of it. It's loose, it's drapey for the summer, because I'm sure when I'm there it'll be still quite warm and it'll just be enough without getting too hot. I am looking forward now to getting the division done for the sleeves so that I can whiz down the rest of the body and come back and get the sleeves done. I think once those stitches have been set aside for the sleeves, it'll work really, really quickly. And maybe by the next time there'll be quite a considerable amount done, and I might even be on the sleeves and have started those. So those are my works in progress. Because I've been really wanting to work on the cardigan, there hasn't really been much done on anything else. Scully hasn't got touched at all. I feel as though I need to get this cardigan well underway before I can get back into Scully again. And the other thing that I'm starting to prep for starts next week. I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, have heard of Turdus Lace, which runs in conjunction with the Tour de France, obviously the cycling race. And I am, as you know, a very newbie spinner, but I thought this year I would take part in the Tour de Lace. Mainly because I think it'll give me the discipline that for 10 to 15 minutes every day during the tour I'll sit and spin, and hopefully that'll develop my skills a little bit more. Obviously practice makes perfect, and I don't practice anywhere near enough at the spinning. I have joined a team. I am on Team CKT, which is the Corner of Knit and Tea team from this podcast of the same name. And Laura is the organiser of that team. She is Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Fluffy K on Ravelry. And if you spin, I think this is a great way to really just discipline yourself to spin. I am going to be trying to spin. Lots of people have big goals, and on the days of the challenges within the tour, they will do a challenge within their spinning. The entire tour is a challenge to me. So my aim is to spin and get finished one braid. I think some of the team members will be spinning various braids, and I think a lot of them actually don't knit particularly much during this, that they devote this month entirely to spinning. I'll not be doing that, but I am going to spin this braid from Fine Fish Yarns again, and this is her Masham top. And aren't those colours beautiful? The colours I've spun up until now have been all fairly plain and solid colours of grey, and I had a brown one. So this is, I love the colours in this. There are many shades. And I have done a little bit of practicing, trying it out to see what I would think. But I love the feel of this, and I'm really looking forward to spinning it and seeing what I come up with. I have no idea what weight. I'm not aiming. I just hope it's not too chunky. I'm going to aim to spin it as finely as possible so that I have a fairly fine yarn when I've applied. But again, it's just practice for me, this entire experiment. It starts on Saturday the 2nd of July and runs until Sunday the 24th of July, which is the time scale for the Tour de France. If you are a spinner, and I think it's open to wheel spinners, spindle spinners, you should look it up. I would say there are quite a number of teams that you can join, and I suppose the team, you can do it on your own, but the team gives you that little bit of incentive to keep going and that little bit of encouragement. And if you have any questions, I'm sure they can be asked within the team. So have a wee look if you are interested in this particular team. It's the Corner of Knit and Tea, and I'll link all that in the show notes. So that is an up and coming thing that I'm going to be doing. I also have another up and coming, and this has to be probably one of the most exciting up and coming things that I've ever had. I am working on my Scully. eventually again, but I need to do another cast on. And I said earlier that I didn't want to spend any money in Edinburgh and that I wasn't buying any yarn for a little while. And the reason for that is because this year I'm going to Rhinebeck. I am beyond excited. This development took place within the last week. It wasn't on the cards for this year. I had aimed that in a few years' time, when I hit the big birthday, that I would go to Rhinebeck. I have a lot on this year. I'm for Fibre East, Yarn Folks taking place in August. I have Knitscape in September. So I had enough on and enough places where I was going to buy yarn, and this will test my mettle and my non-buying willpower, and that I'll have to go to those events and try not to spend money because of Rhinebeck. If you want to put it like the stars aligned, I was looking at flights and dreaming. I was having a couple of low days a week or so ago, and in those days I daydream, and I happened to look at flights and it just all aligned. I am going to Rhinebeck in October. I am staying with Selma, who is Selma Knits and who has the Little Big Knits, I'll put it on the screen, podcast. She has started her own podcast. You will know her from the Two Tangled Skeins podcast with Sue and Lynn, and I can't wait because I'm going to stay with Selma, so I'll have a trip to Ottawa, and I will also have my trip to Rhinebeck, and very graciously Sue and Lynn and the other ladies who go as a group to Rhinebeck have allowed me to come with them. So I have a Rhinebeck sweater to knit. Now, this is where I need you. What am I going to knit? I have been thinking about it fairly constantly since I booked this experience, and I can't decide whether I want to knit a cardigan or a sweater. I know cardigans are good for layering, and I'm knitting a cardigan, and I'm knitting the Scully cardigan, but I am more of a sweater girl. But will I be too warm? I've never been to the States in the fall or the autumn. I've only ever been there when it's high summer and extremely hot. How hot is it in October in Rhinebeck? Will I be too warm if I knit a sweater? All these problems. So if you've been, advise me, please. What'll I knit? I want to use my buckle that I had bought in Edinburgh. This is what I'm going to use. I really don't want to have to buy yarn between now and Rhinebeck because I want to be able to buy some there. So I want to use my Edinburgh yarn to knit my Rhinebeck sweater, and hopefully at Rhinebeck I'll get Rhinebeck yarn to knit my Edinburgh sweater, if I've said that right. So this is sport weight. So what can I knit with this? I had bought it initially to knit the Izumi sweater, which is in, I think, one of the Pom Pom magazines. But I'm not actually sure, and I've had my concern about, it looked quite, it's not a drapey jumper, a drapey sweater, but I'm not sure if the buckle is the right yarn for it. So I'm not sure what to knit. What can I do with this? I will just in chatter, general chatter. I'll put it in the thread on the Ravelry Group. Give me advice, please. I'm really at a dilemma. I don't know what to knit with this. I'm so beyond excited about going. I have never, ever travelled outside of Ireland on my own. I have travelled, not that I haven't travelled, but I've always been with either a big group or with my family, my husband or my family. So this whole experience is a very large learning curve, and I'm in equal parts nervous and excited. I think Actually, I'm probably more excited than nervous, but there is a little bit of nervousness. But Rhinebeck, I think it's every knitter's dream, and I really can't believe that I'm going. But what am I going to wear? I'm already worrying about what I'm going to wear. Just to tell you how daft I am in my worrying, I have been watching podcasts, going back into YouTube and looking at podcasts about Rhinebeck, and I found Christy Glass's What's Your Rhinebeck Sweater podcast episode, and I mean, it was lovely. The first time I watched it, it was purely just to look at the area and what people were wearing. But the last time I watched it, my husband started to laugh because he said, "Why are you watching it again?" And I went, "I want to know what they're wearing on their feet." And I'm not talking about their socks, I'm talking about their shoes. What do I pack? What do I bring? It's June. I'm not going until October, and I'm already worrying about what to pack. But this is the main one. What am I going to wear? Sweater or cardigan? So please help. And maybe we'll come to, I will go with the majority vote with that one. So that is a very exciting up and coming for me. And I'm going to get that hopefully on the needles once Utu is finished. The other thing I want to talk about is actually Knitscape. Not the weekend that I'm going, but this is just a little public service announcement. I noticed on Instagram the other day that Catherine Hastings, the organiser of Atlantic Knitscape, said that there were still a few places left for the weekend beginning the 29th of September. Now, this was up a couple of days ago. They may have gone, but I just wanted to let you know that if you're interested in going, contact Catherine just to see if there are still places available. It's €170 for the weekend, which is a great bargain because that's bed and breakfast and 2 evening meals. And you've heard me talk about it and wax lyrical about it before, and if you want to see anything, there's I think a couple of my episodes I've mentioned and shown photographs of my time at Atlantic Knitscape. It's a wonderful weekend. It has become an international weekend. On the last weekend I was there, Linda from Malta was there. We have people coming from the States, there are people coming from Canada. It is becoming a great weekend. Contact Catherine. She is Atlantic_Knitscape on Instagram, and she has a Facebook page which is Atlantic Knitscape, and I'll link all that in the show notes. If you're thinking about it, really do give it strong consideration and contact her to see if those places are still available. And I think that's all I have today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my ramblings. If you like the episode, please click like, and if you haven't subscribed, do so, and if you wish. And come and join us on the Ravelry Group. Introduce yourself if you haven't done that. It'll be lovely to meet you. And enter the giveaway for the subscriber prize for the yarn and the brooch. And hopefully I'll see you in roughly 2 weeks' time, around about the 7th of July. Over the summer it can vary a little bit just because the kids are home and I have to find the time when the house is fairly quiet. Enjoy your knitting over the next few weeks, enjoy the summer weather, and I hope to see you soon.